Welcome, welcome, welcome to our community, friends. Community connection, these buzzwords that we hear all the time, and you think, what the hell does it mean? And for me, it means mass down, human first conversations of saying, hey, you're not alone with the shit that you're dealing with. I've been there too, and here's how we're gonna get through this together. And we have that here. And I am thrilled that this community, this content, this movement found you. And above all else, my friend, with all the pings and the dings and the shit that comes your way, you made time to do something for you. And that is really damn cool. The shout out this week goes to Hype Humans. Hype Humans, man. My girlfriend, Jen Fisher, said that to me a couple months ago. Was it months or was it weeks? Man, if your mind works anything like mine does, I have no flipping idea. Timing to me, I will say things to Mike. I'll be like, yeah, when we did that the other week. And he'll say, Meg, you mean months ago or years ago? So, in any event, Jen had said it to me and it really stuck with me. It stuck with me. Don't you love those conversations? And then they become someone says something and it becomes a tattoo in your heart. You just always remember it. And she had said that hype humans cheering for each other. What a gift that is in this thing called life. May we be those humans. May we cheer for others in rooms that they're not in versus the smack talk, the shit talk, the gossiping. Let's hype each other up. May we surround ourselves with those people. May we be those people. I have to thank each and every one of you for being my hype humans and know that I'm yours. I love receiving your DMs. I love receiving your text messages. I love receiving your emails. When something that we talk about here clicks and speaks to you, because man, I'll tell you, I did this for a long time alone, this journey, feeling like, and I still struggle with that, feeling like I have to have it all figured out, armor up, not let people know the shit that I'm going through. Vulnerability, man, it is tough. And I am so thankful that we've been writing each other a gift to put on the mask that we've been taught to hide behind. If you are new here, welcome to our tribe. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Megan Miller. I'm an intentional living expert that has fought for a long time, this addiction to achieving, this illusion that the external validation that you like me, that I'm good enough will fix all of these inner demons that I had never been taught to talk to or to lean into. And when you don't have that, man, you look for a safe harbor. And it can be the work, it can be the food, it can be the booze, it can be the overspending, you name it, and you can spend your whole life running from yourself. I did. My goal, my mission on why you and I are spending this time together and in this movement is to put down the mask you've been taught to hide behind, to get to know the person that you've never been taught to get to know yourself. And with these small, intentional micro steps, this beautiful ripple impact that happens in your life, because the core denominator in any decision that you make, my friend, is you. And if you want to change any area of your life, you have to change you and the way you talk to yourself first. And that is so damn hard, but we can do it with these small, intentional micro steps. Welcome to putting attention to intention. My friends, my friends, welcome to another week of putting attention to intention. Isn't it amazing how much shit can happen in a week? What's that saying? Weeks are long and years go by fast. Ugh, ain't that the truth? Preach it to me. I'll tell you what, these sayings that have been around that the elders have told us for years, man, they were really onto something. That shit sticks. It is sticking now. This week, man, has felt long and it has felt fluffing hard. Anyone with me? In the Magulas household, man, it has been a week. So let me tell you what's going on, because and my intention on why I want to share this with you is that we have tendency to feel that everyone has it figured out but us. And here's what I want you to know. We're all going through shit. But in our digital heavy world, I don't think we share that nearly enough. We have tendency to feel that we're behind. And I want you to know, wherever you are, you're not behind, man. Those lessons, they keep coming, and here's to looking for them. So the body is really interesting. This is the first thing that happened this week in the McCullis household that I want to share with you. Isn't it interesting how you can just get so immune to stuffing shit down or dealing with air quote stress in a way that you think you're okay, but you're really not? So I did not feel stressed any more than I typically am. And this week, something really interesting had happened with my body. So I'm downstairs moving my body as I try to do every morning. For me, it's not about the weight. It's not about how I look in jeans. It's about the form of therapy that it gives me and how I feel more energized. I feel that the narrative and the conversations that happen in my mind hit different. And I feel, I just feel like I show up with more energy. So it's part of my habit to move my body in the morning. And I try to do it every morning for a minimum of 20 minutes. Because did you know that if you move your body for a minimum of 20 minutes, and it doesn't need to be a Bears boot camp, doesn't need to be a Peloton workout, doesn't need to feel like you're going to throw up, just moving your body can be a working out with YouTube in your living room or walking around the block in your neighborhood. It cuts depression, fear, guilt, anxiety, all of that noise by 36%. 20 minutes, it's worth it to get off the social feeds and the emails and the pings and dings to move your body, my friend. So I'm downstairs working out, and all of a sudden I feel very lightheaded, very lightheaded. So I come upstairs and I lay down. And wouldn't you know, that is right when our girl Jenny has to go to the bathroom. So I'm telling Michael, he's traveling, so I'm home by myself. I go to walk her out to the front door to go pee, and I could barely walk. Like I was almost like I was real fucked on back from my college days, where I could barely walk in a straight line. I'm weaving in and weaving um around the oh my god, what am I trying to say? Like weaving from side to side to try to get to the front door. So I get Jenny out, come back in, lay back down, and then I start to feel like I'm going to throw up. So I laid down, wrote myself a permission slip to lay back down in bed, muffled through the day, went to bed at 6 o'clock that night. And when I got up the next morning, felt better. But with my little moment of silence, I sat outside and I realized, shit, this is what running from anxiety, this is what telling yourself that you're okay when you are constantly moving because you think you can do your things. This is what it looks like. And Michael says to me, you need to get checked out. Da 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 da. But I felt in my gut that this was my body's reaction to always feeling like I need to be on, to always feeling like I need to constantly respond to the ping and the ding, to always feeling like I need to get the emails done, to do more, to respond right away. It's interesting how your body is always talking to you. It's, are you listening? Are you listening? So after we're dealing with that, then our girl Jenny decides to give us a bit of a scare. So Friday night, Michael and I go out for a little happy hour. One of my favorite things when we write ourselves a permission slip to scoot out of work early, 3 o'clock, 3:30, wrap it up, and go out and spend a little time with each other over a nice cocktail and a nice conversation. So we did that, and we come back, and I said to Michael, something's wrong with Jenny. Something's wrong with Jenny. Just feel it. Go over to the crate. She's shaking. She won't lay down. And for those of you that may know my story with our girl Jenny, I've had her for about 8 years. So she was in my life before Michael came into my life, and was a purchase with an ex-boyfriend. And thank God that relationship didn't work out. Praise be to Jesus on that. But we got this amazing pet. Jenny, who she and I have had a lot of fun moments together. I was telling Michael that there was a time in my life when I would lie on her belly and just cry and just cry and cry. And she was just my has been my therapy partner through life. So over for the past 8 years. So she's really having a meltdown, not feeling good. Girl's 14. So of course my mind goes to she's dying. She's dying. I'm melting down. We end up taking her to the emergency vet. And $800 later, because hey, isn't that the way that it goes? And I said to Michael, those people know, man, you will do anything for your pet. Anyone that's a pet owner listening, you understand you will do anything for your pet. And so anyway, yes, she has some health issues. She's 14. She has some masses on her liver, and we do believe that she's battling with cancer, but she's made it through the other end. We hooked her up with some pain meds, making her comfortable. The girl came home, and within 24 hours, she's back up to her normal self, getting me up at ungodly hours looking for snacks. Anyone who has a beagle knows this. So I say all of that to say that, man, life is rocky, life is hard. We're all going through our emotional roller coasters. So let's just mask down, human first. Just put our shit out there. Know that you're not doing it alone. You're not doing it alone. So I want to go back to what I had struggled with this week with my body, because I believe that we are all dealing with our own shit, this uneasy feeling that is just permeating through the air. Can you feel it? You could almost like cut it with a knife. Just this uneasy feeling that we all have. There's so much fucking fear going on, so much anxiety, so much wondering what's happening with the economy and at home. Like we're all going through our own shit. And I have felt that. Hell, I still do. I still do. We are in this just space of transition, and transition, it is hard. It is uncomfortable. You want to run like all hell from it in the opposite direction. Don't you love when the words find you that you need to hear at just the right time? Just the right time. So I'm dealing with all this shit this week. And Mel Robbins, who, if you do not follow her, please do. She's just this badass Bostonian, lays it on you straight, no bullshit, but also not trying to sell you shit. That I can appreciate. Just authentic on trying to live your best damn life. So check her out. If you haven't, follow her on social feeds. Mel Robbins. She has this podcast, which is like a church service moment. Would love for you to listen to that. And then she had this episode on, which I'm gonna link in the podcast show notes, that found its way to me, just showed up in my feed. Thank you, universe, for this gift. And the conversation was so paramount to what I feel that we are all talking about, which is this anxiety. What a gift language is, man. I did not realize that the majority of my life I've been battling anxiety. I just thought high functioning anxiety. I just thought it's who I was. What a gift language is. So her this episode that she did with this Harvard psychologist, Dr. Luana Marguise, is all around dealing with anxiety and how to rewire the conversations and these small little things we can do to change it. So they kick off the conversation talking about this transition period that we're in. Hand raised. And it creates this shame cycle. Well, this is what I got out of listening to the words. This shame cycle, because you want to change. You know it. You can feel it in your gut, whether that's putting down the phone, whether that's stopping the emails late at night, whether that's changing your narrative around food, putting down the damn Oreos, whether that's not drinking the whole bottle of wine at night, whether that's ending the relationship, whether that's stopping the overspending, whatever it is, you know when you need to change. But it is scary and it is hard. And so you don't. So you keep shooting all over yourself. I should do this. I should do this. We have great tendency to do that. Then when you don't, you beat yourself up for it. So then it forces you to run back harder into the shit that you know you want to you should change. Because, my friends, we want certainty and we want significance. We want to know what's on the other end of that decision and that we're going to look like a damn rock star on the other end of it. Right? Hand raised, hand raised. I was just telling someone the other day, I was talking to a girlfriend the other morning. She's looking to make some changes in her career. She knows she should. She's told herself this can't be all that there is, but she doesn't know where to start. And that this job has given her this validation, this certainty, because she's the damn rock star. Everybody goes to her. This has become her identity. Not also is she guaranteed a nice paycheck on the other end of it, but she's found that over the past several years that she, although she knows she should change, she knows that she wants to do something else. She keeps running back to the job and doesn't make any moves because it's easy. And I had said to her, been there, been there. I had fought this urge, knowing that I was meant for more than this job for, oh my God, 5 years, maybe even longer than that, if I'm being honest with myself. But I was so flippin' fearful. And looking back, as I've been on this movement for 7 years, building this out with you all for the past 2 years publicly, here's what I can tell you. If I could turn back the hands of time, don't be so damn scared. Don't be so damn scared. Because what's on the other end of it is something so beautiful and something that's so true to you. And it's worth all the fear. It's worth all the guilt. It's worth all the anxiety. It's worth all the questioning yourself as you go through the dark wood of the night, because here's what's on the other end of it. Such a gift of finally living your truth. And it is such a damn gift. So Dr. Louina Marguise talks about in her conversation with Mel Robbins, and this is where I was like, oh, take me to Fulton Church. I had to put this shit on pause so I could write it down because I felt like they were talking right to me, and it's my hope you feel that they're talking to you. She talks about her struggle with ambition. And she talks about at one point in her life, it served her. It served her because it got her out of the situation that she was in. She, and I'm going to jack up some of her story, but basically came from very humble means, came from Brazil, and knew that if she worked hard, she could get out of her situation that she was in. But it became then a drug to her because it was no longer serving her. You know, here she is, this Harvard professor. Great, got the title, got the illusion from the external validation that, man, I am good. Look at me. I'm teaching at Harvard, man. But she knew that she wanted to extend this movement and her words that she had much larger than just writing research papers. But she was almost in this trap because she was like, man, I'm at Harvard. I got the title. I'm doing the thing, and I don't know where to start. Mel Robbins then responds back to her and talks about her own addiction to this achieving. And she said for her, it really came loud and clear, Marilyn, loud and clear over COVID, when she finally had in her home her husband. They were together. She was doing a lot of traveling before then. So here she was in her home with her husband and her kids. And she looked around and she thought to herself, what the fuck am I doing? I'm working all the damn time. I tell myself that my family is important, but I'm not spending time with them. I'm working so damn hard, even though I already have all of these things that I set out to do. Yes, we have the financial stability. Yes, we got ourselves out of the massive debt. Yes, I am building this movement and sharing it with you all, but I just kept hustling to more and more and more and more. And it got me off track of why I really started this in the first place. And I realized that I was miserable because I was always working. And I thought to myself, shit, isn't that the truth? And came barreling to me this week as I had this health scare because I could barely walk, all this anxiety about wanting to build this movement and be the next Brene Brown, meet Sarah Blakely, meets Mel Robbins, and bring it out into the world and come in barreling hot and do the more, always be on, the one more thing, always be working, always be thinking about how I can continue to climb up this next ladder. And while I know that is what I ran from, and I don't want to get back in there again. I'm doing the same shit. And here's why. It once served me. It once served me. It once got me out of feeling like, being raised by a beautiful, strong, badass single mama. I saw her struggles and I didn't want to ever have those struggles. And so I ran from it into the job, into feeling like that is what would give me the certainty and the validation that I wouldn't need to struggle. And it served me. It got me out of that speech impediment kid who was a C student, who was chubby and felt like I was never worthy or good enough. No one told me this. I felt like this. And the job gave me all of this certainty and significance that I did not have. But it is no longer serving me. And so I ask you, my friend, what thing are you still hanging on to that is no longer serving you? But you're scared shitless because it once served you and you don't know what's on the other end of that decision. The stories that we tell ourselves that we are not even aware of, that is such a power move when you allow yourself to recognize that. I am in the next few weeks, I'm speaking to a sales group. Next month, we've been doing some sales meetings and sales trainings together because my friends, before you can show up at work any sort of way, before you can build trust in any sort of room that you're in, man, you got to build it with you first. And I don't feel like we talk about that enough, do we? We're so quick to look at the KPIs about where are you in your funnel, where are you on your projects, but what we don't give enough airtime to is where are you mentally? How are you feeling? How are you taking care of you? Because before we can hit any of these projects, before we can move any sort of way, from a revenue perspective here at this organization, we got to take care of you first. You first. And so I started to do this thing, and I really enjoy it because I feel that we are so quick to make assumptions about what someone else needs. But did we have the conversation? I love how this always comes up. Did you ask? Did you ask? So one of the things I've been asking to do with these folks that I've been working with in these rooms that I'm walking into, whether that's sales meeting, leadership meetings, even going into schools, even going into high schools and speaking to students and speaking to faculty, let's poll the group we're speaking to ahead of time and let's ask them what they need. Let's have a conversation with them on what tools are they lacking? What do they need? What stories are they telling themselves? So we're not making assumptions of what you need, which we are so quick to do. So I did this the other week with a group, and it was unanimous on the stories that we are telling ourselves as to why we constantly need to be on. It is this underlying fear of failure. Underlying fear of failure. I don't know why that's so damn hard for me to say today. Fear of failure. Fear of failure that we all have. If you peel back the onion, my friend, you know that saying they say, if you ask yourself why 5 times or more, you'll get to the root of what it really is. And the root of what it really is this fear of failure. Fear of failure of letting your boss down. Fear of failure of not showing up for your team, fear of failure of letting your partner down or your friends or your kids, or not getting this external validation that you're worthy and you're good and that you're keeping up with the Joneses of life. But you know what's so interesting to me? And this is one of my main takeaways when I looked at these survey results from this group of why they feel like they constantly need to be on is themselves. Nowhere on this list was this fear of letting themselves down. It was everyone else. And I thought, God, isn't that so true? This is why we get stuck in this loop. One, because it once served us, but two, because it also is giving us the validation. And that is really damn hard to detox from. And when you're so used to getting validation from everyone else, the person that you never ask and the person that you never listen to is yourself. So where do we start? Because that is always the question that I get any room that I walk into, any conversation that I have with any friend is where do we start? And that is the hardest damn thing because information is everywhere. Hell, you take your phone into the bathroom. You can find the answer to anything by the time you're done in the bathroom. But where do we start? And here's where I want you to start because this is where I started. I had a friend ask me this the other week, and I think I gave the wrong answer at first because, like I said, hey, man, time is a tricky ass thing. And you can get really confused, like your memory on where you started with something, it can get very hazy. So he had said to me about where I started, and I don't think I gave him the right answer at first. I started talking about the power of these 4 questions, which is true, which if you haven't heard us talk about that before, I want you to just go to Megan-Miller.com. There's a microstep journal piece, the 4 questions that I've asked myself every day for the past 7 years. And it's such a power move instead of getting up and going right to the phone, which we know if you do that for 3 minutes, you have a 70% higher chance of having a bad day. Well, there's that. But before I even got to that, where I started was the content that I fed my mind. That is such a power move. Such a power move. Be aware of the content that you are feeding your mind. When I started to, in the mornings, listen to podcasts while I was getting ready or when I was in the car that elevated me, man, it was such a power move in how I showed up the rest of the day. So I ask you, my friend, are you aware of what content you're surrounding yourself? And this isn't just woo woo. There is science to support it. You have a bouncer that lives up in your brain. It's called the reticular activation system. You can Google it. I think it's the most fascinating thing. And basically, what it is you tell that bouncer what to let in. So when you wake up and you go to the phone and you start scrolling and doing the things, scrolling the social feeds, wondering why everyone else has the nicer kitchen or the car or doing the thing that you want and you're pissed off or watching the news, you do that for 3 minutes, you have a 70% higher chance of having a bad day. You will look for more things to support that narrative versus when you start your day doing either something for you, moving your body, asking yourself those 4 questions, or even where I started, which is just listening to podcasts that elevated my soul, whether that be when I was getting ready in the morning, in the bathroom, or in the car. So that's where you start. These small little things, being aware of what you feed your mind. What content are you consuming? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you surrounding yourself with? We've heard it time and time again, back to those elders, man. They had their shit on point. They knew what they were talking about. You are a culmination of the top 5 people you're spending time with. Who are you spending time with? If you don't want their life, if you're not motivated by what they're doing, if it doesn't excite you, don't be spending so much damn time with them, my friend. Be aware of who you're surrounding yourself with. It is amazing when I look back on my journey, the people that have shown up in my life at just the right time because I was vulnerable enough, I feel, to start to share my story with people, start to put out where I was in my journey. And the more that you do that, my friend, the more that your people will come. And it's amazing, sort of this ripple impact that it has. So, who are you surrounding yourself with? Spend time with the people that motivate you, that elevate you, that you think, man, I love what they're doing. The other thing, how you move your body, how you move your body. As we talked about in the very beginning, moving your body, it is such a power move. If you don't know where to start, why don't you start with 20 minutes of moving your body? I don't care if it's outside walking the dog. I don't care if it's with YouTube video in the living room. We have tendency to make shit so much more complicated than it needs to be. How you move your body, that's where you start. What you eat, that matters. It's these small little moves every day that add up to giving you the courage to step into what you want to do. So instead of feeling like you need to quit your job, you need to pack up and move, you need to get divorced, you need to I don't know, pick whatever power move, go on the cleanse, don't eat for 48 hours, do these big moves. No, it's these small moves. It's what you listen to, it's who you surround yourself with, it's how you move your body, and it's what you eat. Here's a prime example of what you eat. Last night, Michael and I are wrapping up dinner. I love me a little peanut butter. It's one of God's best gifts, if you ask me. I always tell Michael I don't want to live in a world without it. We got 4 big jars of Jiffy in that closet at any given time. And as I was slapping it on this bar of chocolate, I thought to myself, and I had the whole chocolate bar broken up, about ready to do my little habit. I had one bite of the chocolate with peanut butter, and I turned to Michael and I said, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I don't think I need to eat the whole bar. That's these small, little intentional moves. Instead of sitting on the couch, walking around the block, instead of going to the family event that always bothers you, or hanging around with the people that are drinking too much, that are eating the shit food that you're like, I don't really like that. Instead, it's making the power move to reach out to the person that elevates you, that motivates you, that you think, God, I want their life, and asking them for coffee. I just had this conversation with Michael. He was sharing with me this guy started this apparel company in Vermont. He loves their products. He's just so impressed by this guy. I said to him, why don't you reach out to him? Tell him that you love his product line. You love what he's doing. Reach out to him. See if you can get on the phone with him for 5-10 minutes. Surround yourself with people that motivate you and put out the ass to spend time with them, getting to know them. And the content you feed your mind, that's where you start, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for making the time to be here, and most importantly, investing in yourself. Have you listened to your 2-hour TEDx talk? My friend, if you have, and any content resonated with you, please share it with your tribe. I'm a huge believer in getting this movement out to let people know that they are not alone. There is another way to live. And here is the power of these micro steps to start. We have linked it in the show notes. I ask that you please listen to it. If you haven't listened to it, please give it a listen. It's 15 minutes. I would love for you to plug it in with some earbuds, take it for a walk, talk about killing 2 birds with 1 stone, moving your body, listening to content that elevates you. You can listen to it in the restroom, in the bathroom when you're getting ready in the morning, take it in the car, just listen to it. And it's my hope that this story and this movement elevates you. If you feel inclined, if this conversation moved you, please comment, please rate the podcast. It does make a difference in sharing our community. Until next time, my friend, carry on with intention.